let's look at what is a local variable and what will be the scope of such variables. So a local variable is a variable defined inside a method. We can also define local variable to be a variable that is defined inside any block, and in that case that variable is local to that block. If it's a method block, then it's a local variable for that method block. If it's a loop block, then that variable is local to that loop block. And the scope of that variable is the part of the program where the variable can be referenced or used. So the scope of a local variable starts from its declaration and continues to the end of the block that contains the variable. A local variable must be declared before it can be used, otherwise it will be an error. So you can declare a local variable with the same name multiple times, but in different non-nesting blocks in a method. But you cannot declare a local variable twice in a nested block. So let's look at an example with a for loop. So a variable that is declared in the initial action part of a for loop, its scope is in the entire loop. But a variable that is declared inside a for loop body, its scope starts from that statement until the end of the for loop. So let's look at here. The scope of I, the variable I, starts from here, the beginning of the for loop, until the end of the for loop. But the scope of the variable j starts from this statement where it is declared inside the for loop until the end of the for loop. So here the same variable name I, it's declared in two spaces, and it is not an error because the scope of I starts from here and it ends here inside this for loop block. So when we are declaring this I variable here, it's a new I variable because it's a new block. So its scope starts from here until the for loop ends here. But if we want to do it like this, that means we are declaring the I variable here outside the block. So the scope of the variable I starts from here until the method 2 block ends. So it starts from here up to here. And inside this scope, if we want to declare the variable again, that means we want to declare the same named variable, it becomes an error. So in this way, we can examine the next code. So here, since I is declared int I equal 1, so the scope ends here. So when we come in the next for loop, I is unknown. That means we can again declare another variable named I, and the scope is until the for loop ends. But here int x equal 1, the scope of x starts from here until the incorrect method ends. So if we want to declare another variable x with the same name x, this line will show us an error. It's a compile error.